What are interest groups? Interest groups are associations of individual or organizations which usually lobby members of the government in their favor on the basis of one or more common concerns. Any association of individuals or organizations usually formally organized by a special interest group or advocacy group or a press group which attempts on the basis of one or more common concerns to influence public policy to its advantage. The wish to influence government policy to benefit itself or its causes exists for all interest groups. Types of interest groups. In all types of political systems, the interests and interest groups may be placed in 5 categories: economic, public, private and governmental, non-associational interest and interest groups. Cause groups are those that represent a certain segment of society, but whose main aim is to promote a certain cause or value without any economic interest. This category is broad, including religious organizations, disability rights group, human rights group. Some groups are single topic groups, focusing very narrowly on their problem. European Solidarity Corps. The European Solidarity Corps unites young people to build a more inclusive society that supports vulnerable individuals and addresses societal challenges. For young people who want to help, learn and build, this offers inspiring and enhancing experience. The participants of the European Solidarity Corps carry ideas, beliefs and expectations with them. These needs must be taken into account by participating organizations as they are responsible for providing an environment of respect and trust. Meanwhile, the organizations involved in the initiative are committed to creating a high quality of activity with lots of time, energy and resources. Therefore, they should expect the participants of the European Solidarity Corps to have similar level of respect for local communities and people directly affecting them. The wide range of potential participants, organizations and environments where work can be done are taken into account these general principles of conduct. The specific conditions of each activity should be adjusted. Would you like to help broader community between 18 and 30 in Europe and beyond? This could be done through support and financing from the European Solidarity Corps, which helps young people to take part in projects and benefit communities whether in their own countries or abroad. These projects offer inspiring and empowerment and also an opportunity to make changes while developing your skills. So what can you do? What can you do? You can generally participate in voluntary work, internships, employment and local projects. EU countries and some non-EU countries are program countries and there are also partner countries such as Russia. What is a solidarity project? An activity for a solidarity project can be carried out by a young person in a group of 5 or more people so that the local community can make positive changes. It is created and carried out by young people in their own places. Consider the challenges and causes in your neighborhood. The project should address challenges in your community, but can also contribute to address regional or even national issues. A solidarity project should also show European value by taking on the priorities set at European level in addition to addressing local challenges. The project can last from 2 to 12 months and it's mainly part-time, so you can do it in your free time. How can your organization help? Why don't you talk to them about solidarity projects and encourage them to apply? If you know that a group of young people want to work in their community for a cause which matters to them, the funding can help you tackle problems, target a specific group or develop local opportunities in your local communities. At the same time, running their own project is a very valuable learning experience. EU Aid Volunteers. EU Aid Volunteers initiative brings together volunteers and organizations from different countries providing practical support to humanitarian aid projects and contributing to strengthening the local capacity and resilience of disaster-affected communities. The EU Aid Voluntary Initiative is open to EU citizens and long-term residents from a variety of backgrounds and experience, from newcomers to experienced professionals in a member state. Only when the EU signs bilateral agreements with those countries will citizens of potential candidate countries, EEA countries and European Neighbourhood Policy be eligible to apply. The humanitarian needs of the hosting organizations and its development context depend on each volunteer placement. There is usually no requirement for the past volunteer experience. However, volunteers can use the profile of competence of the vacancy in which they are interested to see if their profile is adequate. EU Aid Volunteers. EU Aid Volunteers initiative brings together volunteers and organizations from different countries, providing practical support and humanitarian aid projects and contributing to strengthening the local capacity and resilience of disaster-affected communities. The EU Aid Voluntary Initiative is open to EU citizens and long-term residents from a variety of backgrounds and experience, from newcomers to experienced professionals in a member state. Only when the EU signs bilateral agreement with those countries will citizens of potential candidate countries, EEA countries and European Neighbourhood Policy be eligible to apply. The humanitarian needs of the hosting organization and its deployment context depend on each volunteer placement. There is usually no requirement for the past volunteer experience. However, volunteers can use the profile of competence of the vacancy in which they are interested to see if their profile is adequate. Volunteer profiles. There are two main volunteer profiles: junior professionals, senior professionals. In order to familiarize yourself with the humanitarian nature of the project, young professionals may be asked to spend up to 6 months first in an EU-based organization. Each task will indicate whether the required volunteer is a senior or junior worker. Certain EU aid volunteers will have relevant knowledge of humanitarian assistance, such as logistics and transportation, organizational capacity building, water and sanitation, nutrition and health, disaster data and knowledge, medical services, paramedics, etc. Tasks and duration. Various types of tasks will be worked by volunteers depending on their profile and experience. The activities will cover areas such as organizational development and capacity building, management of projects, assistance for disaster risk management, food and nutrition, water and sanitation, etc. Volunteers will be deployed outside the EU to conduct humanitarian aid services. It shall not be deployed in countries or regions where armed conflicts occur internationally or not. The deployment length depends on the particular project in which the volunteer is engaged. This can be between 1 month and 18 months. Benefits. The program, including travel, insurance and accommodation, covers expenses during implementation. Furthermore, voluntary workers will receive a monthly livelihood allowance covering daily costs such as food, local transport and other expenses depending on the country of deployment. A centrally organized training program will be delivered at all volunteers and their readiness to work shall be assessed. EU aid online volunteers. Those who cannot leave their country can take the opportunity to join an online volunteering platform and get in touch with organizations that need support that can be offered remotely. Specific online volunteering opportunities are published on the vacancies platform as soon as they are available. How to apply? Opportunities for both deployment and online volunteering are published on the EU Aid Volunteers platform. UNICEF. UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund, is another renowned interest group that works on the hardest places in the world in order to reach the most disadvantaged children and youth and protect every children's right everywhere else. UNICEF is committed to saving children's lives, protecting their rights, and helping them fulfill their potential from childhood to adolescence in over 190 countries and territories. UNICEF's achievements in 2019, including reaching 307 million children under age of 5 with services to prevent malnutrition, 17 million out-of-school children with education, 4 million children and young people with skills development, 18.3 million people with access to safe drinking water. To begin with, register yourself with the UNICEF Fund individually or ask the administration of your school to join your UNICEF club or start one. When you start a new group, fill the application form on the UNICEF. Either college clubs or secondary clubs are welcome.